My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. It is Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. This is at the TABOR Professional Building at 320 West G Street in Ontario, California. I am in the engineered light where the ongoing crime of monitoring. This is pursuant to stalking, and this is done by the Ontario Police. I want to document the entity doing so while I'm asleep. Gang stalking by helicopter, amplified helicopter activity, and is stalking with the people of the state who are maintaining surveillance along G Street as well in concert. And I want to document this. This is what the entity is doing as I captured on video, and doing so again at 2 o'clock in the morning, pursuant to also the intent to harass and terrorize. Doing so while you're sleeping and in a sleep state. That's also relevant to the demons of the Ontario Police Department, who are, again, on a record with regard to the entity producing identity of terrorists that are going to prison for stalking me by helicopter. It's occurring at around 2:06 a.m. I am on the TABOR Professional Building. This is where the helicopter is located in the sky space. They're stalking me. They're doing so while I'm documenting it, and it's relevant to an ongoing record of terrorism that the Ontario Police is maintaining with the people of the state. It's, again, Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. It's 2:07 a.m. This is P.O.C. at the TABOR Professional Building. 9LKL696. This is an African American female monitoring with the 7-Eleven clerk. upon my entrance at 6:30. It's 6:31 a.m. P.O.C. Oh, this 7-Eleven is located at 636 North Fine Avenue. License plate 1UBR3795M38315. 39350 handicap on a red Honda. All right, the people of the state who are monitoring with the government that's stalking in commercial planes, I'm at C Street and Palm. License 8JDC516, 8PZF062. This is 218 C Street. The people that stayed at 218 C Street where the fake sun is over me, and I'll go ahead and capture. This is where the entity is stalking, and it is a hard proof of stalking because the fake sun is at the same position where it is. It's 6 in the morning. It's 6 in the morning right now, 7 in the morning, and the entity is here with the fake sun at 6 in the evening. All right, the people that stayed are crossing path monitoring as I use my device. The fake sun is in perfect alignment with me when I'm crossing path with the people that stay inside of their facilitating venues where they live, where you have no shelter from a federal prosecution. Okay, the specific environment surrounds, and the specific environment includes their homes, and your name being on the mortgage or the lease or the property, that's a means of admission for criminal conduct. 9PZF062 and Penske. That's a third-party company. The vehicle's parked in the path, and the license plate is Indiana 3298378. P.O.C. It's 6:58 a.m. Also, license plate 8SZ0560 and crossing path. Oh, I thought I heard third party approaching. I was going to document them. This is Laurel and C Street where I'm at right now. Yeah. License 8RZD270. Where the entity is gang stalking and planes and helicopters, the entity acting directly, the people of the state are gang stalking as well. So that's the entity that's engaging in what is providing evidence against each other. They're all obviously engaged in the criminal pattern of conduct. There's no mystery with regard to the Fed's ability to prosecute the state because they're all under the fake sun. So in other words, I could do a PowerPoint and show you the fake sun over this intersection at 6 in the morning, at 2 in the afternoon, and at 6 in the evening, and everybody would be subject to a federal prosecution. This is how that goes when you're recognizing criminal surveillance by the state. It's currently 7 a.m. on the dot. This is P.O.C. at C Street, approaching Euclid. License plate 87872K3. This is a third party stalking at the traffic light. Looks like PRV, Transport Incorporated, California 655194. They're monitoring. The entities surrounding at the perimeter, they're monitoring with the City of Ontario. They have a vehicle in the path at the intersection. This is meeting conduct. So the City of Ontario is along Euclid Avenue with a means of peculiarized light, and the fake sun's over me. Engineer light appearing in the shade because the demons are stalking with light while you're subject to surveillance. This is the environment that you're paying attention to, and it's absolutely supernatural, i.e. demonic, relevant to domestic terrorism. Obvious criminal conduct by a civilian population who is going to be prosecuted as the terrorists that they are. And these are the sex offenders that don't have any right to be in the bathroom. They're sex offenders, and they're going to be prosecuted accordingly. License 9PXV695, gang stalking by going to the Wells Fargo drive-thru. This is an Asian male. Engineer light while he's using his Wells Fargo card to engage in gang stalking via patronage at a facilitating venue. This is City of Ontario at the intersection while the entity sounds amplified train. License 1302367. These are demons.
It's really pathetic. It's the same system over and over again. They're at the traffic light where the fake sun is here at 1 in the afternoon when I come from Starbucks. This is P.O.C. using the vehicles of the municipality. Paul Leon. This is money, resources. California exempt plate 1302367. Watch them drive. You'll see the image. They're driving by the same parking garage where that fake sun's over that parking garage at 10:13 in the morning. They're driving inside of the parking garage where you saw engineer light all along the roof inside of that, the ceiling inside of that parking garage. They're demons and they're gang stalking and they represent the municipality. They're driving inside of the parking garage where you see the fake sun over it at 6 o'clock in the evening. They're demons and they represent the municipality. P.O.C. It's currently 7:03 a.m. Securitas is engaged in criminal surveillance. That's not a constitutionally protected position, working at a facilitating venue, pacing all around while you're calling yourself a security guard at a state facilitating venue. And that's what Securitas is engaging in while he is wearing a Securitas, he being the male. And I documented him gang stalking me, by the way back in 2018. It's the same pudgy, I think he's Asian, same pudgy Asian male, has not, under any circumstances, aspired to anything greater than being a gang stalker for Securitas. And he is doing so at the same Ontario Town Square, which is pacing, relevant positioning, light activity with the City of Ontario, who provides evidence against him right now. Just want to point that out. This is the entity that surrounds its own co-defendants with evidence that they're all going to be prosecuted with. P.O.C. Let me show you the fake sun. And the entity that's stalking by Amazon Prime Air over the Ontario Town Square, where there's no, remember, this is supposed to be a takeoff over the Ontario Town Square, or not even a takeoff. I'm giving them that because why are the planes hovering all over the city of Ontario? Because there's an Ontario International Airport does not mean that you are flying. They're clearly stalking. I have given them, okay, I guess you call yourself taking off over, because what is the plane activity about? When you're taking off from the airport, you're not hovering over 224 North Euclid Avenue. And it's also not a coincidence that I'm documenting Securitas and this pudgy Asian male that was documented in 2018 gang stalking at the same venue under a fake sun, where I've already captured the sunrise and the sunset. With simultaneity to that documentation, the entity provides evidence against Securitas and that pudgy third-party Asian male that I documented years ago, who was still engaging in domestic terrorism, and doing so under the guise of a corrupt company, the federal RICO case against Securitas, in other words. The entity is engaging with flying over the Ontario Town Square, and is doing so in a manner that you're supposed to, is this supposed to be a takeoff? Because 2500 Airport Drive and 2900 Airport Drive does not ever result in what are Amazon Prime planes, Delta Airlines, Southwest Airlines, Alaska Airlines flying over any low elevation, meaning I wouldn't see the logo, you would not see the plane, you certainly would not hear it when they're taking off and actually headed to a destination. But they're also doing that obvious deviation from taking off from airports and hovering throughout the city in a specific environment where the fake sun is also over me. They're doing it in an environment where the sun remains there and it's documented at these locations for the duration of the day, which is also supernatural. And this is the same municipality that has demons operating Ontario, the City of Ontario vehicles, where they're stalking with light and they're driving all around under a fake sun around establishments that have that same environment around all day long. That's the entity that's providing evidence against Securitas and the people of the state working for that company that I'm going to prosecute. All right, that's the entity that, again, lacks intelligence, has no legal strategy, and is engaging in what is ongoing patrolling. And this is Alan D. Wapner, okay? Alan D. Wapner is being removed from position. This is a demon. He just wears a headdress so that you would have that demon confused with a Jew, because you're never supposed to make any sort of correlation with religion and demon possession, because Satan has nothing to do with religion. Yeah, that's a lie. Okay? You know them by their deeds. You can call yourself whatever you want, including calling yourself a follower of Jesus Christ, because you know them by their deeds. They do it. Satan does it all the time. All right? Stalking with peculiarized light at what is 280 North Euclid Apartments. They're doing it under the fake sun. This is what Camden Adult Healthcare was doing yesterday. When I'm documenting Camden picking up the people of the state at 280 North Limit Apartments, they're doing so while engineer light is moving all across the building, all across the asphalt. They're monitoring. This is what they're doing at Alvarado Gardens, picking up the people of the state from my apartment complex where I'm managing. LAPD is gang stalking by helicopter, just like the City of Ontario is gang stalking by commercial plane. And they're doing so while the entity kept that fake sun over that apartment complex. That's the obvious engagement. And that's, again, evidence against Securitas and the third-party employees of that company that I'm going to prosecute. And there is long-term evidence regarding the federal RICO case against the people of the state. I can use any company I want. I'm going to prosecute the entire state. But I have evidence against any company that I want to demonstrate the pattern of conduct that the state of California is engaging in. And they are not a group of intelligent defendants. They're not. They're not at all. Not even a little bit. It is currently 7:08 a.m. This is P.O.C. And this is, again, what I spoke of this morning, the Ontario Police gang stalking by helicopter. They do so, again, with the intent to harass and terrorize, doing so while they're monitoring. Remember, demons are engaged in monitoring. Monitoring is relevant to, yes, surveillance, stalking. Every move you make, you move your arm, you move your neck, you change your hairstyle, you put your hair up in a ponytail, you take your hair down out of a ponytail, you look to the left, you look to the right, you pull your panties up, you pull your panties down. You're engaged in what is sitting down versus standing up, monitoring every physical movement. That's demonic. It's also psychopathic. It's a whole other level of obsession. The demon-possessed are engaging in this, and it's surveillance that the government's engaged in. Doing it in the engineered light, okay? This is the hovering system of monitoring that we're subject to in this country in this specific environment. Moreover, the entity is also engaging what is stalking as a population in order to keep you under that level of surveillance. The demons have to be around you, and the demons have to be around you in that environment. And the demons are around you in that environment, and you're not supposed to be aware of it. And if you ever do speak of it, they're supposed to be capable of making you look like you're imagining things and you're paranoid, and they are the delusional psychopaths who are surrounded with the evidence of their mental illness, and they are going to be diagnosed and they are going to be prosecuted for their criminal conduct and their malice. All right, the entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct and doing so by helicopter this morning with the intent to harass. Okay, yes, they're monitoring, and they know when you're in a sleep state. They know when you're in that in-between state of being sleep / kind of awake. This is when the demons of the Ontario Police fly over by helicopter. I am listening to content with regard to, relaxation and sleep mode. And so this is the circumstances where the demons know that the helicopter activity is going to disrupt me. And this is what's so foolish. The entity is engaging in a pattern of conduct that's supposed to be right. They're supposed to, this is the purpose of gang stalking. They're supposed to psychologically torture you to the extent, to the degree to where you just lose it, okay? And that's what they want to see. There you are. There it is. See, we told you she's crazy. This is what we're talking about. And this is why it wasn't wrong for us to steal that money. This is why it's okay that it's a secret conservatorship. This is why it's not necessary that the judge never included Erica Spencer in any of the court hearings about property that was never told about, that she never knew anything about, and that it's okay that we said beforehand we had any sort of evidence corroborating mental illness, because here's the mental illness right here. We just had to stalk her until we got the evidence of it, despite the fact that she was stating that it's not the case. But here it is right here. And even though they've been stalking the whole time, this is what the entity is. That's the whole purpose of it. Okay, first of all, you're stalking. Okay, it's never becoming legitimate. Second of all, this is entirely criminal from the outset. Secret conservatorships, undisclosed property. You have criminal acts committed by the court, meaning when you hold a court hearing, first of all, they're engaged in surveillance. I'm prosecuting that courthouse. It's called a fictitious exercise of authority. It's a criminal act. This is how the courts are going to be caught red-handed. I dare you to hold a court hearing in my name regarding any property belonging to me, because you're gang stalking me, you're targeting me. And there's a phrase for it. And it's an exercise of fictitious authority. It's the means of gang stalking by the courthouses. Gang stalking is a system of surveillance, and it is inherently designed to obstruct justice. And they engage in maintaining court hearings that are facilitating that pattern of conduct. And I will prosecute you for the exercise of fictitious authority while you are engaging in what is any sort of court hearings concerning the targeted individual. I'm going to prosecute you. So prepare yourself, because everybody that engaged in that, you're going to prison. They were doing that intentionally while the entity's been doing what these demons are giving you evidence of. This is why Amazon Prime is gang stalking me by commercial planes. This is why the Ontario Police Department is gang stalking by helicopter. This is why you have these demons, these homeless people, these people coming outside with their friends and their families gang stalking me at the Ontario Town Square. This is why the municipality is gang stalking in municipality vehicles. This is why the demons are gang stalking as a population. This is why the entity is gang stalking as a sheriff's department, engaging in repeated kidnappings and necessarily making up information, because I've never been a criminal. They have to make it up about me. This is why they're doing that. And that's an unlawful act. While you're sitting in a court engaging in gang stalking, because it's a term of art, you're going to prison. You're engaging in facilitating what is an ongoing campaign against the life in furtherance of murder and kidnapping because you think that you're going to steal my money or any American citizen's money behind that corrupt system. You're going to prison. You're not going to sit in luxury and convenience in an air conditioning building with a robe on and sit on a bench and adjudicate over somebody's mental health as a means of gang stalking them in order to steal from them. You're going to federal prison for that. From the gang stalking demons at the police department to the gang stalking demons at the 7-Eleven to the gang stalking demons sitting on the bench, you're going to federal prison. And if you can't tell, you make me want to spit. You disgust me. You belong in federal prison. That's exactly where you're going. This is leading all the way up to the gang stalking courts. And these imbeciles out here are continuously providing evidence against you in particular. That's what you don't seem to understand. And then these demons certainly don't get it. It's leading right back to you. It's exactly what you're engaged in. It's exactly what you rely on. And I caught you years ago. You are witnessing your own public demise. While I identify demon-possessed gang-stalking police officers, I'm identifying you. It's a pattern of conduct, and it's directly linked to what you're doing in these corrupt courts while these demons are getting, you're relying on the information that these demons, while you're together, targeting an American citizen whom you're keeping under surveillance, and you have no jurisdiction in any court in that state to have any sort of hearings. You have no jurisdiction. You're engaged in state surveillance. And that level of corruption is inherent to that pattern of conduct. That's why I can go to any courthouse, and the fake sun is over my head, by the way. That's why that happens, because they're directly engaged in targeting at that court. They're also doing so regarding any subject matter concerning that targeted individual. It's a comprehensive system that the entity has no legal strategy to address, and all they know how to do is continuously provide evidence against each other. Where you are facilitating the ongoing conspiracy to murder and kidnap an American citizen by sitting in a courtroom and engaging in what is the exercise of fictitious authority over property that doesn't belong to you, over property that's never been reported to the targeted individual, over property that you have already shared a stake in, you've stolen it, you've been promised something that you don't even have any ethical bases to share in, you're losing your license, you're losing your freedom, you're going to prison, and you're done with the practice of law as well. That's the criminal misuse of a bar licensure and a position of your position as a judge. I just want to be clear, all levels of criminal conduct are going to be addressed. You're not keeping your bar licensure. You're not practicing law. I'm coming for all of that in the same way that you were coming for all of my property. The return to sender includes that you're losing everything that you used to attack me and my lifestyle and my property while I'm subject to gang stalking. I'm sleeping outside while you're conspiring to steal my property? Are you kidding me? Yes, you're going to prison. Absolutely. You're going to federal prison. It is currently 7:15 a.m. and the city of Ontario is presenting evidence regarding the motive behind gang stalking courts that are engaging in what are the corrupt acts of seeking to steal property from American citizens when you target them. But this is where the entity fails in its logic. Stalking another American citizen does not under any circumstances reflect poorly on their mental illness. In fact, you're doing exactly what the law requires you to do. Prove a pattern of conduct. When the pattern of conduct is entirely demented, psychopathic, demonic, sexually perverted, that also does not reflect poorly on the character of the targeted individual. It's only the corrupt courts that are gang stalking that seek to use that evidence against itself in order to reflect poorly. That is criminally defame, because it's in conformity to a pattern of conduct. So that's criminal defamation, as I have termed it, and it's going to be recognized under federal law. This is exceeding civil defamation. Okay, yes, it is causing pecuniary harm because these demons are stealing my property. But it's beyond that. It's serving a criminal pattern of conduct. It is criminal conduct by the entity. Criminal defamation, which is facilitating the entity's motive to kidnap you by, remember, they don't only want to steal my property, they want me to be kidnapped in a facility so that they can all enjoy the fruits of what belongs to me. And that's not happening, and you're going to prison. So understand the purpose of what the entity is doing, and they've already been caught in the act. So every night that the Ontario police are gang stalking me, it's evidence against the judges that are going to federal prison. Every night that the entity is gang stalking at the Starbucks, at the library, at the Ontario Town Square, when I'm on Omnitrans, when I'm traveling through the city, in the specific environment that is domestic terrorism, it's evidence against the gang stalking courthouse, who never had any jurisdiction. They're targeting as well. They think that you're never going to get that connection, that you're never going to, that's malice. That level of malice, you're going to prison for that. You're not merely losing that seat on the bench. You're going to prison. All right. It is currently, good morning. Hi. Here's the city of Ontario. Hi, how can I help you?
Hi, we have snacks and water.
This is audible activity.
If you're interested in snacks and water?
Sure. It's 7:18 a.m. It's Wednesday, July 9, 2025. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently 7:21 a.m. That is the city of Ontario. I discussed this before, where they are referring to government measures such as Measure Q, where they are using it as a means simultaneously to monitor. That's what the city of Ontario is engaged in when they have these so-called field workers. They're out here in the quote-unquote field under the fake sun, monitoring with the rest of these demons out here. The same exact P.O.C. The entity's amplifying train while they're talking about, oh, did you have any need for any resources and whatnot. It's the same P.O.C. and it's under, I want to be clear, the same demons who are gang stalking Alan D. WAPNER, Jim Bowman, Ruben Valencia, Deborah Parada, and Paul Leon. Okay, this is public corruption exposed, and the entity is disingenuous. This is the entity that's engaged in that P.O.C. and that's what I hear. That when you hear that paper, that's how useless it is. It's audible activity, relevant positioning, light activity, and that's why the entity is flying over the same venue while they're offering resources of the city that does not actually have any resources to aid in homelessness, especially when the homelessness is caused by the oppression of that entity. Okay, the entity is engaging in this, and this is what I want to get back to. The pattern of conduct is that which is facilitated, and it is this is the criminal conduct that's relied on in the courts when they're targeting American citizens and seeking to steal things like inheritances. This is what the government is invested in, and they rely on the criminal conduct, the stalking behaviors, the psychopathic behavior of a corrupt government in order to falsely depict. This is what is, when you get down to the bare bones of it, they're literally stalking you, and then I'm documenting it, and this is what the entity, my documentation of their stalking me is what the entity is relying on. This is what Tracy Banks is relying on, the fact that I'm documenting it, and she used that to try to criminally defame me. But don't forget about the fact that they are simultaneously stealing my intellectual property, which is the evidence of this entity gang stalking me, and also profiting from it. So on the one hand, it's genius, it's making you money, but on the other hand, in my face, you're defaming me by it. Those are the psychopaths that are gang stalking. That's also relevant to the courts that don't have authority or any jurisdiction over me or my property. And that's because the entity is engaged in surveillance. Moreover, I want to be clear, demons like Tracy Banks and demons, third parties, malicious actors, thieves that the government are acting with, like Jason Isaac Fields, corrupt government actors like Jason Isaac Fields, sex offenders like Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks are engaging in what are defaming my name, defaming my character in these courts that don't have any jurisdiction. They're relying on that. And I want to be clear, it's never challenged what Jason Isaac Fields is stating in these courts. These court hearings that I have no information that are occurring, they're happening behind my back. And what's happening at the same time is the entire time I've been documenting the pattern of conduct. While they are in these courts holding secret hearings, while I'm kidnapped by this same entity that has the fake sun over me, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department is kidnapping me while they're claiming they don't know where I'm located, and that's why you should give them my money and my property. That's the entity gang stalking together. The entity that's kidnapping, and then the entity that is Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks, and Eric Corey Spencer, Shanita Ramaya Kling, you name whatever third party, because they're all going to prison. They were gang stalking together, and I was never supposed to know about it. That's why the entity is keeping my property a secret. That's why the entity is maintaining secret court hearings. That's why the entity is necessarily defaming me behind my back. Okay? And the entity is engaging in what is suppressing my evidence about gang stalking simultaneously on the internet as well. While you're engaging in this obvious targeting system, the entity is going to be prosecuted in the courts that held hearings, while this is the conduct that they're engaging in with the state. Okay? The entity is engaging in what is defaming my character, talking about being promiscuous, talking about being a drug addict, talking about being engaging in criminal conduct that I've never, you name it, the entity probably asserted it against my name, necessarily doing it secretly, while you will see the record show, the big picture shows, so as of 2018, I've been systematically documenting the pattern of conduct by the government. The government's engaged in this pattern of conduct because they've been engaged in an ongoing campaign to defame my character, exercising authority under the Welfare and Institutions Code to defame, and the entity's practice, how does the government do it? The government engages in this system of surveillance to target you in order to falsely depict your character, because the pattern of conduct is never that which was supposed to be able to be proven. All right, so the government's supposed to be able to target you because they're demons, And they're supposed to be able to target you in a way that you can't prove. So in other words, you're pointing at, look, 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 that's what they're doing. And everybody's looking like, and everybody is the entity. Everybody's looking like, okay, well, this person is mentally ill. That's how the pattern of conduct that the entity is engaging in is supposed to work. It's not working like that. And everybody that engaged, including Jason Isaac Fields, a corrupt government actor, this is supposed to give credence to the defamation that's occurring in the courts. He's going to federal prison. He's also engaged in having sex with Tracy Banks, his co-conspirator. The one that's as old to be as his mother. They're conspiring against me together, having a secret conservatorship, and their sexual relationship is relevant with regard to their conspiracy and targeting me together secretly behind my back about property that was never told to me, while these courts are acting with the entity that's gang stalking at the same time. That's how Alan D. Wapner's Ontario International Airport and Omnitrans and the city of Ontario and the civilian population gang stalking me is putting Tracy Banks, putting the gang stalking judges, putting those demons bearing false witness, whose name I know, including Eric Spencer and anybody else that was involved in my personal life, who were simultaneously targeting me and not telling me about property that they were trying to steal by defaming me secretly behind my back. That's how all these facts are connected. Jason Isaac Fields is a maniacal psychopath, which will also be known through what should be observed in I want to be clear regarding the entity that's dissecting my life. Jason Isaac Fields' mental illness is shown through his sexual activity. This is a psychopath who acts out that mania through his sexual perversion, having sex with all manner of people with regard to whatever he believes that he's going to steal from me. That's somebody that's mentally sick. What is it that makes you believe that you're going to steal or acquire any sort of authority over me while you're using your genitalia on people that I don't even know, that I'm not involved in? That's because this person is a demon engaging in sex rituals. You need to understand that demon possession, in the same way that you're witnessing it, while they're gang stalking, an idea of it, a picture of it, an illustrative one, is that they're all pacing under the fake sun. It's mental illness. They're stalking with engineered light while they're monitoring. That's mental illness exposed. The entity engaging in what is this promiscuity, Jason Isaac Fields having sex with all manner of people that I know all around me. This is his mental illness. It's being expressed and manifested in a perverted manner. This is somebody that is mentally ill and did so while abusing his government position, thinking that he is also, this is a demon, a warlock, okay? Somebody that thinks that he has authority that he doesn't have. He's merely a whore. This is Satan's prostitute, and he's a lying psychopath who has had sex, all manner of sex with Tracy Banks, and he is delusional with regard to stealing money from me based on what he's done with his genitalia. He's going to catch whatever STDs that are that he's going to reap from that conduct, and he's going to federal prison for defaming my character and stealing whatever it is that he's already stolen in concert with the government. That's what Jason Isaac Fields is getting with regard to his promiscuity with his infected genitalia. That's what he's getting. Satan makes mentally ill people. They believe things that, again, perhaps other demons that are of their same condition, but it doesn't work against a child of God, and you look like a crazy person because all of your demonic tactics are showing you to be a psychopath. They're showing you to be delusional. They're the ones that are appearing to be the mental health patients, which is what they are. Satan is the root of all mental illness. It's a spirit. Satan is the one that causes people to hear things that causes them to go in and shoot up a building. Satan told them to do that. That they're listening to demons. It's mental illness as it's addressed in the secular, but it's mental illness that it starts with Satan, and it causes people to do things like what Jason Isaac Fields has had sex with everybody that I know, and he thought that that was going to be the lottery, winning everything that belongs to me. That demon's going to federal prison, and the courts that are entertaining that defamation, they're gang stalking with them. They're not innocently listening to a corrupt official. They're doing so with regard to what is a pattern of conduct. And as I'm documenting the entity outside under the fake sun in Ontario, California, as I go to Rancho Cucamonga, California, as I go to the Ontario Police Department, and all of a sudden the sun is over the Ontario Police Department, the entity is engaged, in other words, I've documented the P.O.C. everywhere, while the entity is stalking in an obvious manner using commercial planes and helicopters. I want to be clear, it's bearing poorly on the courts that are addressing, and let me be clear, the court hearings concerning property that was never told to me, that's the state's admission that they're stealing from me. That's the state's admission that they are targeting me. It's an admission. There's no accidents here that I'm documenting for years, targeting. The entity is repeatedly kidnapping, defaming my character secretly, unbeknownst to me. I have no inclusion, no information about these allegations about my character, which, by the way, are also irrelevant to my inheritance and my property. The entity just throwing anything at the wall to see what will stick, because the demons are seeking to steal from me by defamation. And it's going to be prosecuted as criminal defamation committed by an entity. And corrupt officials like Jason Isaac Fields are going to prison for it. He's already sitting on and stolen, living off of resources that belong to me. While I'm sleeping outside and the government is prolonging justice, he's going to federal prison. The entity is still gang stalking. This is not an investigation. He's going to federal prison. There is no apology. There is no return of funds that are going to remove that. He's going to federal prison. And so is his sex partner. He likes to have sex with grandmas. Tracy Banks is going to federal prison right along with him. That's the significance of the entity providing evidence. While the population is gang stalking, those gang stalking judges are going to prison. While the city of Ontario is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, as my evidence shows, the gang stalking courts, everybody participating, any court clerks, everybody that's not doing their job, all the information that I didn't receive, this is the pattern of conduct. They're all going to federal prison, and justice requires it. This is how state surveillance is executed when that surveillance that's happening amongst a population decides to target somebody regarding property that American citizen, that targeted individual doesn't even know about. And guess what? That malice, that targeting entity, all of that's being flipped. It's called a return to sender, and it's all going back to everybody that participated in it. They're all losing their liberty. In addition to that, the public officials, the mayor, the city council. Oh, in Ontario, there's an airport where they're engaged in state surveillance. That airport is a national security threat. And since they're engaged in what is stalking, as opposed to taking destination flights from the airport, they're flying over me everywhere in the city, where I'm showing you it is, in fact, me that they're stalking in planes and helicopters, because the fake sun is always over my head from the beginning until the end of the day. Who engages in stalking in airplanes? Courthouses that are seeking to criminally defame an American citizen on paper in order to steal property from them. That's who does that. And every corrupt court, because that's exactly what it is. It's not a regular court. It's a corrupt court that is entertaining property that they never told belongs to me. That court's engaged in the pattern of conduct. Everybody engaged in that is going to prison. Tracy Banks didn't do it by herself. Jason Isaac Fields didn't do it by himself. The court is entertaining it because the court's engaged in that same conspiracy. That's why, by the way, like I said, I've already connected the dots. Any courthouse, any state facilitating venue that I go to, the supernatural is present. The fake sun is over me. These are demons engaging in surveillance in the state of California, and this is how they conspire against American citizens. And I've connected all those dots, and everybody that's in that puzzle of all those dots, they're going to prison. The police department's being disbanded. The mayor's being removed from office. The mayor that likes to threaten me as I document him, that's relevant to a prosecution. And none of them are getting any of my money. Anybody that's already stolen my money, you're going to prison for it. I hope it was worth it, because I'm getting my money back and you're going to prison, federal prison. It's an admission. That's not an ongoing series of coincidences. Just like the P.O.C, it's not an ongoing series of coincidences. You don't have this level of criminal conduct, this level of oppression, this level of targeting. And then I also have property that I don't know about, and a court never told me about it. And they have all this manner of defamatory conduct concerning my name and character. And I've never been a criminal a day in my life. I didn't go to law school and finance my education because I'm some irresponsible, promiscuous criminal that just decided to just rip up all my accomplishments and just decide to live a life of crime, like these petty thieves and these criminals that never graduated beyond high school. If that, because that's who you're listening to. These people that they're only ambitious with their genitalia. That's it. They're only ambitious with their genitalia. How many hundreds of people have they crawled on top of or crawled underneath while they're defaming my character? Everything that they're speaking about me, by the way, you're dealing with demons. If they're talking about molesting children, the demon possessed, they're admitting that they're child molesters. Because that's how that works. I'm going to let you know right now. If they're engaged in what is defaming my character, talking about violating children, you're looking at the demon possessed in those courts that are engaged in violating children. That's why they're defaming me with that specific information. Because they're the ones that are good. That's how Satan operates. So I'm going to let you know right now, you're dealing with child molesters who are defaming my character. They're sex offenders. They're engaged in what is accusing me of criminal acts that I never committed. Fraud. They're engaged in the fraudulent conduct, assuming my identity, engaging in criminal conduct under my name. Placing me on the internet, that has to be through cameras that I don't know are there, i.e. the entity that's gang stalking me, that's a sex offender that's obsessed with my vagina. I've documented their obsession with me. That's showing you the propensity to place cameras around me, place me on the internet, and make money off of it based on their obsession with me. They've already admitted to everything that they are engaging in. Every gang stalking judge, these oxymorons, they're going to prison. Every gang stalking judge, every courthouse that submitted to targeting me, because that's why it's concerning property that was never told to me while the entity simultaneously gang stalking through the city of Ontario, providing evidence against itself, they're going to prison. They're going to federal prison. All right, the entity is engaging in this conduct, and it is serving for what is an inevitable demise. Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison. He's been gang stalking me with every police department that I document. He's been gang stalking with every sheriff's department that I document. He's sitting in court. He's having sex with those that work in the court. He's having sex with Tracy Banks. He's having sex with everybody bearing false witness against me. And he's engaging in what is admitting to his sexual violence, admitting to his criminal acts while he's defaming my character. Things that he's committed, and he wishes it was true about me, and it's true about him. He's the one that's had sex with hundreds of people. He's the one that's running around infecting people with STDs. That's not me. They're talking about themselves. While they don't want the issue, which is the plain issue that is not being addressed, all these distractions, because the issue is, where is Erica Spencer? Why is she not a part of the hearing concerning her own property? Why isn't she given due process to address these allegations about her character and these purported crimes that I know nothing about? And a lot of times, you know where Erica Spencer is? The entity that's gang stalking me that I'm documenting, oh, they were kidnapping me. That's where I'm at. I'm sitting in jail documenting, holding signs up on camera, telling the cameras inside of these facilities that they're monitoring inside of the jail, that they're gang stalking me inside of the facilities, that they're engaged in kidnapping and defaming me while they're engaged in federal stalking inside of that facility. That's where I'm at, where they're holding these court hearings, and the entity knows that. That's why it's about property that's never been told. That's why they're about court hearings that were never disclosed. That's why they're steady defaming me or throwing around distractions. The corrupt court, the entity, is relying on these distractions in these courthouses. They're all going to prison, every single last one of them, and I demand it. I demand it. Nothing less than that. All right? It is currently, this is what you want to be aware of, because the entity is harming itself. I have over 100 videos of the Ontario Police Department gang stalking me by department in a specific environment, and this is post the kidnapping on May 29th. So that's 100 videos in less than a month. And the entity is engaging in a pattern of conduct and is doing so. Nobody is making, I could not make that up. I could not make that up. Actually, I could not make that up on my own. The entity is engaging in this level of criminal conduct, and guess where it's going? Because the entity is the one that's short-sighted. They're the ones that don't, clearly nobody went to law school, and clearly anybody that did go to law school, because these corrupt judges and attorneys did, but nobody's giving any legal strategy about what's coming because they can't anticipate it. The demons never anticipated that there will be a legal theory around the demonic pattern of conduct, but there is, and it's logical, and it's pursuant to actual legal reasoning, and I'm going to prosecute them. They're already surrounded with that evidence while they keep providing evidence against the demons that are connected to this conduct in the courthouse. You're going to prison, because while you're stealing my property in the court, because that's exactly what you're doing when you're holding court hearings and you do not have jurisdiction, it's state surveillance. And you are admittedly targeting me about pertaining to property that has never been told about me while I'm on the street documenting this ongoing conduct. You're going to prison. You're going to prison. You're going to prison. All right. So this is speaking to the pattern of conduct, and the entity is engaging in that with a level of malice and ignorance at the same time. At the same time. The Ontario Police Department gang stalking me at 2 o'clock in the morning. The entity has, again, interfered with my ability to be on the job free of terrorism and psychological torture. The entity has interfered with my right to practice law, both as an attorney, a licensed attorney, and as a property manager, and I documented that at Alvarado Gardens, the LAPD's criminal engagement in the P.O.C. And the entity likes to just scape over that, and by the entity, I'm referring to Tracy Banks, this high school graduate, okay, that can't even spell, like the police, can't even spell Constitution when she's violating it, and she speaks as the state. The entity is ignorant, under all circumstances ignorant, and I've already surrounded them with the evidence, and I'm going to prosecute comprehensively every single level, including while they're gang stalking. This is the entity that is providing evidence against itself, and the case is already complete. The entity that's gang stalking in the courts, I'm going to use the evidence of the entity targeting through the pattern of conduct while they're engaging in what is relying on that in order to steal property in the corrupt courts that are engaged in the same exact pattern of conduct. And by the way, it's the same exact specific environment. And in addition to that, just as an aside, it's highly unintelligent. It's highly unintelligent and unsophisticated. And these are supposedly legal scholars. And I'm going to prosecute them just like these bums out here on the street under the fake sun. Stalking, using a pilot's license to stalk, using a logo of a major company to stalk one person. I am going to embarrass you while I prosecute you. So that's what you're getting ready for. It is currently 7:40 a.m. The entity has the fake sun over me at the Ontario Town Square, where you're never going to hear any plane engines. There's never going to be any plane activity, and I've been documenting it for years. When you are taking off from the airport, there is no such plane activity. But not only are they clearly targeting by that, they're targeting because this is where the fake sun. Not only is it here now, remember it's here 11 hours from now, and that's how I also have documented a lot of the demon-possessed gang stalking Ontario Police Department who are going to federal prison. You're not staying out of prison while you're engaged in state surveillance. There's a whole controversy around why the police are stalking me. And it's about money and property that they're not getting and what they already stole. What you already profited from, what already hit your bank account, what you already spent, you're going to federal prison for it. And it's also relevant context as to why you were targeting in the first place. And Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison. All right, that's exactly where he belongs. It is currently 7:41 a.m. and it is Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. This is P.O.C. All right, documentation that's being uploaded to the Google Drive for July 9th, and that's including the images documenting the ongoing threat that I have been capturing and the evidence. For example, addressing the threat that Jason Isaac Fields poses as somebody engaged in theft of my intellectual property, my property that has been caught up in an ongoing secret, mysterious controversy in a court that, again, pertaining to matters that have never been brought to my attention, never disclosed to me. This is somebody that I have been addressing with regard to the unlawful threat, especially as a corrupt government actor, somebody that has no authority under the law to ever be in my presence, while not only engaging in what is defaming my character, targeting me in furtherance of murder and kidnapping me in order to profit from my demise. That profit is rooted in the property that this person, Jason Isaac Fields, has already stolen, targeting me with Tracy Banks, and doing so with the state of California. He's targeting me while I'm documenting the LAPD gang stalking me at Alvarado Gardens and in the city of Los Angeles. He's targeting me while the city of Ontario is engaging in that pattern of conduct, including as I speak. The entity, as I'm uploading these images, it is pertaining to the state actor Jason Isaac Fields, who, I just want to be clear, this person is literally irrelevant. This is nothing other than someone that Tracy Banks had sex with, who sought to recruit. This is literally somebody that just went to the same high school. He wasn't even in the same grade. I never associated with this little peon. He's irrelevant. He's engaged in having sex. He made himself a part of the issue because apparently he went around having sex with everybody that I know and that I'm related to. He had sex with Tracy Banks as well. And these are demons. This is a part of their witchcraft practicing, their sex rituals, which apparently amongst demons like them, they acquire spiritual power through that. They're a bunch of demons. That doesn't work on somebody that walks with Christ. And they just look like the sex offenders and the psychopaths that they are. They look like weirdos and perverts, and that's what he is. And he's also a thief, and he's acting with the government, and he also is abusing a government position. Now, this person is somebody that I've been documenting and speaking about theft. The entity's suppressing my evidence online, the evidence that the government knows that I'm publishing. This is why Ontario PD flies in circles over my head as I publish it onto the internet. This is what the entity is doing now while I'm publishing evidence pertaining to Jason Isaac Fields. The city of Ontario is engaged in monitoring. The fake sun is over the Ontario Town Square, where the entity has this fake sun. And that's how you know it's the P.O.C, because this fake sun is still here 11 hours from now. Okay. The entity is monitoring regarding evidence that they know is being published, while the entire time the entity has been maintaining corrupt and criminal acts in a court in furtherance of trying to steal property from me, while thinking that gang stalking is going to accomplish criminally defaming me. And that's not going to work. And everybody that engaged in that is actually going to federal prison. And the corrupt public officials are being exposed, while the mayor and the city council and the fire department, the police department, the airport, and the municipality itself, every business in Ontario, the population itself is engaged in this surveillance system and targeting me together. The entity is engaging in this, and I want to make sure that that is clear while I'm publishing the evidence onto the Google Drive. Ontario International Airport, with simultaneity, keeping the evidence of it's the government's own criminal conduct. Jason Isaac Fields is a part of the entity. This is no legitimate investigator. There's no private investigation that was ever necessary. This is property that belonged to me. The entity sought to, at the outset, stop me from getting property that belongs to me, which the government has no legitimate interest in doing so. Neither does the government have the ability, nor shall they get away with maliciously doing it through the people of the state, in concert with the people of the state, which is where the system of gang stalking comes into play, okay? Jason Isaac Fields is not a legitimate investigator. He is acting in furtherance of the pattern of conduct. The entity engaged in this with regard to defaming me. Criminal defamation is where Jason Isaac Fields' corrupt role comes into play. He's going to federal prison. All right, he has no stake. He is literally irrelevant. His sexual activity is exposing why he needs mental examinations. His sexual activity with people that are superficially related to me. By related, I mean in my life in one way or another. People that I used that weren't really my friends, that I don't address. I don't talk to them anymore, obviously, because I'm documenting the pattern of conduct and protecting myself. And these are also the same people that have bore false witness in these corrupt courts. This is somebody that is not engaged in any investigation now, was engaged in what is monitoring me, defaming my character, and speaking and making up information while claiming to be you're not investigating anything. He's having sex with Tracy Banks. He's having sex with the people that are bearing false witness in court, and he's seeking to have a stake in property while also his hands are already filthy dirty. Unclean hands while you're engaged in what is an investigation, but also interested in profiting from the property that he's supposedly investigating me about. I never committed any crimes. I don't suffer any mental illness. There was never any grounds for a so-called investigation in the first place. And that is supported by the evidence of the fact that my property that everybody's so concerned about and all of the alleged crimes that I committed and how unstable that I allegedly am, but nobody told me about any property and nobody gave me any information about how unwell I am. And there's never been any indication of any of these issues until they were, again, secretly behind my back engaging in this while I'm simultaneously documenting the pattern of conduct. Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison, and he represents an unlawful threat, especially as he is a government actor. He is subject to what is a federal prosecution under all circumstances, including were he to ever come into my presence, which is an unlawful threat posed by the government. The people of the state are gang stalking at the Ontario Town Square right now, and it's evidence against Jason Isaac Fields. He's engaging in the P.O.C. with the city of Ontario, and that's what I've been documenting. And this is what you're understanding. While the entity is engaging in the peasant work of gang stalking, which I've proven, they're incriminating, and it is serving to prosecute the entity that is engaged in what is criminal defamation in the courts, gang stalking, which occurs in the courts when they're relying on the criminal conduct of this entity that I'm documenting in order to accomplish what is theft via criminal defamation. There is no legitimate investigation, and I stated that while the entity was gang stalking, flying planes over Woodside Senior Apartments, where there are also no planes taking off from 2500 to 2900 Airport Drive and hovering over Woodside Senior Apartments at 408 West G Street, and where the sun is also not going to rise and set over Tracy Banks' apartment. But that's exactly what I documented, while Jason Isaac Fields is engaged in targeting me and then engaged in what is defaming my character with his so-called information that he's produced from his investigation. There is no investigation. There is no federal investigation regarding my character. It's entirely illegitimate. This was the entity's effort of stealing property from me, property that the government also never told me about. Never told me about, while repeatedly keeping me under surveillance and targeting and kidnapping, and then using their criminal acts to defame my character in these fictitious exercises of authority in these courts, where judges are going to prison for that. Their hands are also in the pot trying to steal my property, relying on banking on my being defamed so that they can benefit from it. This is what Jason Isaac Fields is a part of, and his sex partner, his sexual relationship with Tracy Banks is showing his unlawful motive, his unclean hands, his engaging in what is targeting me and then claiming to be an investigator, claiming to be a legitimate government actor, engaging in what is investigating me when there is no probable cause to investigate me whatsoever. I should have been given my property when it was originally time for it to be given to me. The entity kept that from me while gang stalking me the whole time, and then engaging in what are ways in which corrupt means whereby they're abusing the system to substantiate support, not giving it to me. And all it is a bunch of distractions because the government's trying to steal property from me. And you're listening to the government gang stalking in the background. Okay, they're gang stalking, and this is the evidence as to the system that the corrupt courts that Jason Isaac Fields has been engaged in. He's going to federal prison. He shares no legitimate interest in my property whatsoever. He is entirely irrelevant His only relevance is the sexual contact that he's had with however many people are engaged in trying to steal from me. They're all in this this witch coven together. They're all in this demonic cult together. And they've all conspired to steal from me together. And their sexual activity didn't get them anything other than an embarrassing reputation for being a bunch of whores that worship Satan. And they failed in their sex rituals and trying to silence me as well. All of it failed. And I'm embarrassing them. Okay, they're a bunch of whores. They worship Satan. They're liars and thieves. And they're also acting with the corrupt entity that's stalking me as a public entity, the city of Los Angeles and the city of Ontario. And remember, when I left Los Angeles, I documented as I went from hotel to hotel. This is relevant to the federal RICO case against the state of California. The Courtyard by Marriott, a gang stalking company. The people of the state paying money to keep me under surveillance, going into the hotel rooms, engaging in the exact same pattern of conduct. Replete with the fake sun over the hotel. How was that ever going to be over the Ontario Police Department like I documented at 9:32 a.m.? Because the Ontario Police are a bunch of demon-possessed gang stalkers and they're surrounded with the evidence which is going to disband them for acting with the entity, acting with demons, corrupt actors that are relying on the criminal conduct of the Ontario Police Department, the criminal conduct of corrupt companies like Courtyard by Marriott, the people of the state of California, in order to defame my character because the entity is interested in stealing money from me. And because the entity engaged in obvious criminal conduct, they've lost in the endeavor of trying to falsely depict my character because they have to make you appear mentally ill and they have clean hands. Not engaging in what is stalking somebody, the person that you're trying to defame. The entity's not capable of doing that. The entity's been targeting the whole time and trying to get away with stealing. So now you're looking at just bare bones terrorism. And the Ontario International Airport's going to be prosecuted. It's relevant to the federal RICO case. It's relevant to what is national security because I advocate a lot of policies when you're exposing domestic terrorism. These are psychopaths that kill people. They fly planes into buildings and mountainsides and bodies of water. While they're gang stalking me, their mental illness is directly relevant as to why that airport is more of a threat than it is an attribute to the city since they're so devoted to stalking one person using commercial planes. That's a lot of time, manpower, hours, and money on criminal conduct that I've been documenting for years. Jason Isaac Fields is not engaged in any legitimate investigation, nor has he ever been, nor was there ever any cause to investigate. This is Tracy Banks, this little high school graduate, this old common thief. She's a petty thief. She's a fraud, engaged in what is trying to steal money from her own daughter by defaming me. Somebody that I could prosecute her inside of her apartment, which is exactly what I did. And this is the entity that has no legitimacy whatsoever, and whose entire pattern of conduct is fully laid out, and that entity is going to be prosecuted, including in the courts, concerning property that never should have been kept from me in the first place. None of it. All of this has been an ongoing means of seeking to oppress while gang stalking, seeking to support while they're oppressing. That's it. Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison. He's already stolen from me. And that which he has already stolen is also why he's going to federal prison. And he has been engaging in what is banking on my never being able to expose what he and Tracy Banks, what the state of California, what corrupt agencies like the Ontario Police Department and the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department have been engaged in, while they've been conspiring to steal and support their theft by making it look legitimate through investigations, through diagnoses of mental illness that don't exist, through criminal acts that I never committed, regarding court hearings that I know nothing about, pertaining to property that was never disclosed that belongs to me. This is unprecedented public corruption, while a bunch of demons are sitting around stalking me everywhere that I go. This is the system that Jason Isaac Fields is engaging in and calling it an investigation. It's not an investigation. It's gang stalking. It's targeting. And he's going to federal prison. Okay? The entity not only seeking to steal my money, still seeking to steal my any real property, personal property, and my intellectual property. Okay? That's what's relevant. And while I'm publishing this onto the Google Drive, the entity gang stalking by planes over the Ontario Town Square. The entity sounding the vehicles, the municipality, they're all sitting around obsessing over me. And the proof of it is because the fake sun's over the Ontario Town Square, and it's not over Woodside Senior Apartments. It's not over Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles, and it's not over 507 North Euclid Avenue to be seen through the window facing Euclid where I'm documenting, and I'm sitting there on that couch in Starbucks while those demons are pacing in and out of the bathroom, monitoring while their shadows are moving across the floor inside of the Starbucks because the fake sun is right there and they're all monitoring. Gang stalking. Okay, this is P.O.C. It is currently 8:44 a.m. The images of Jason Isaac Fields and what I've been documenting regarding the threat that he poses and every other gang stalker that Tracy Banks was able to recruit to come against me, to bear false witness against me, doing so because they all thought that they were going to profit off of my money. And they did this because they were counting on my being silenced, being kept kidnapped in a facility somewhere, being falsely depicted with regard to my character so that you would never believe me. And the entity also at the same time trying to steal my intellectual property. On the one hand, it's genius that they're profiting from, and on the other hand, oh, don't listen to her, she's imagining things. Yeah, there's no imagination when you're looking at that fake sun sitting over one building for 12 hours. Yeah, that's unprecedented. That's called malice of the entity that tried to get away with criminal defamation. And everybody that had anything to do with anybody putting their hands on my property, you're going to federal prison. They engage, this is government conduct. This is the entity trying to steal from an American citizen through targeting them. Okay, and it is simultaneously exposing what's going on in this country, surveillance. It's currently 8:45 a.m. This is P.O.C. relevant to Title 18 federal stalking. All right, the ongoing demonic pattern of conduct. The entity is engaging in what is surveillance. The specific environment provides context regarding the criminal system that is engaged in plain sight. So this is surveillance by residents. This is surveillance by occupation. This is surveillance by loitering in the path. That is being at the Ontario Town Square. And it is surveillance with regard to criminal conduct by the entity. The entity has the fake sun over the same Ontario Town Square that is present when I'm documenting at 4:07 p.m. Ontario Police gang stalking crossing path on Lemon, where the people of the state are engaging in surveillance stalking under the fake sun that's present at 9:26 in the morning. Remember, yesterday the entity has the fake sun over 9:32 at 9:32 a.m. over me at 2500 South Archibald Avenue. That's giving you context about what these demons are doing. First of all, your ability to know that they're demons. Second of all, your ability to know that they're engaged in criminal surveillance. And that's exposing the government. And the people of the state are in the shoes of the government, not private citizens, and they'll be prosecuted. In addition to that, the pattern of conduct, as I've also documented and proven, where the fake sun is and the demons are who are gang stalking, so is the impossible light activity, which when you're understanding the presence of the fake sun, it's all impossible light activity while they're driving in it, existing in it, talking in it, pushing strollers in it, having their babies walking around and crying in it, walking around gang stalking it with their communication devices in it. It's all impossible light activity because it's not the sun. Neither is that sunlight that is moving dynamic all around me while I am sitting at the Ontario Town Square. It's currently 9:27 a.m. I'm going to show you the entity that has the fake sun over the Ontario Town Square, which I've captured again 7. So this is 2 hours, and the fake sun's at the same position where it is at 4:07 p.m. Where that white male operating vehicle number 1076 of the Ontario Police Department, that license plate is on video. He's going to prison. As surely as the people of the state license 29248B3. This is a male engaging what is stalking in the path while engineer light is moving about while I'm sitting at the bench. 9LHY718 is engaging in the exact same thing that the Ontario Police Department did at 4:07 p.m. under a fake sun. Doing so as an entity 6YHE352, 8NJL509. This is P.O.C. The entity that's honking a horn is stalking in the path under the fake sun, honking like they're trying to get somewhere, and they're stalking. That's license 8BXY907. And the white van is a means of what is impossible light activity that's moving across that van. So I'm capturing this stalker's image right now. He's in operation of his device. He's stalking at 280 North Lemon Apartments, doing so with the Ontario Police Department, pacing 67355D4, pacing 8NQF063, and impossible light moves across the apartment building, and the fake sun is right over him. Okay, 6YHE352, these are demons who are pacing. License 8NJL509, license 8UDF8589, excuse me, that's P.O.C. And you're looking at, again, this is why the white male operating the Ontario Police Department vehicle at 4:07 p.m. like I documented. Today is the 9th, that was on the 7th. He's going to prison. He's going to federal prison. Gang stalking police officers acting in furtherance of murder and kidnapping American citizens whom they are keeping under surveillance with the gang stalkers that I'm documenting. They're going to federal prison. And you know that they're stalking because the sun is still here at 4:07 p.m. That's supernatural. That's malice, 8AKM080. And gang stalking immigrants deserve to be raided by I.I.S. and deported out of this country because that's exactly what's happening. And I stated years ago that they're going to be deported, and that's what the process is happening. And guess what? These gang stalkers that are engaging in this impunity that I'm documenting, I'm not crying for them. This is what judgment, this is what justice looks like. And they're going to continue to experience it. It's relevant to the pattern of conduct that they were warned about to stop engaging in, and they're not stopping, and they're going to be deported. Gang stalking immigrants don't belong in this country, and they're not welcome here, by the way. Including while American and natural-born citizens are here gang stalking, they're gang stalking with the same gang stalking immigrants that are in relevant position. Justice is going to play itself out. This is P.O.C. at 280 North Lemon. That's across the street from the same Ontario Town Square under the fake sun. License 9SBU 482. This is why Ontario Police is being disbanded, 8T71900. And it's 9:30 a.m. So I'm going to show you the fake sun that's over the Ontario City Hall. That's going to be, again, a basis of prosecution. It's a crime scene. The natural environment does not include the sun being over the Ontario Police Department at 2500 South Archibald Avenue, like I documented 24 hours ago, because the Ontario Police Department is a crime scene where surveillance is underway, just like what I'm documenting right now. And it is also exposing a demon-infected agency that also lets you know that, because that's why they're stalking me day in and day out. In helicopters at that, where we are not in Afghanistan, but we're in the United States, and the United States government is engaging in what is terrorizing American citizens using helicopters. And they do it while they're demons under a fake sun. And what is engineer light? With the people of the state, the criminals that I just documented by license plate, who are stalking as a population. And they're not stalking as strangers. They know exactly who I am. The fake sun documentation proves that. And so does the stalking with light behavior proves that. And as a targeting entity after one person, they are exhibiting severe psychopathic and antisocial behavioral disorders. And that is relevant to the diagnosis. That is the mental examinations inherent to a prosecution for being a gang stalker, and you will be treated uniformly, whether you're a gang stalking police officer, whether you're a gang stalking psychiatrist, whether you're a gang stalking registered nurse, whether you're a gang stalking mayor, whether you're a gang stalking librarian, whether you're a gang stalking homeless person, whether you're a gang stalking sibling, all right, a gang stalking barista. They engage in the same exact pattern of conduct, and they're going to be treated accordingly. All right, the P.O.C. is uniform. The specific environment is uniform. And there is no sun that's going to be over 2500 South Archibald Avenue at the same time that it's over the Ontario City Hall, which is where I'm at right now. And the entity is keeping this fake sun. As you already know, there's a body of evidence surrounding the Ontario City Hall while it's over the City Hall into the afternoon. 1, 2 in the afternoon, the Ontario Police Department gang stalking by helicopter while I'm here. So I'm going to capture this video right here. You have the people of the state that are already in position outside of what is the criminal conduct of Paul Leon, where the City Hall is a crime scene, just like the police department is, and that's why that police department is being disbanded. It's currently 9:32 a.m. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently 9:32 a.m. It's Wednesday, July 9, 2025. And as you can see here, this is the Ontario City Hall, and this is referred to as relevant positioning. This is light activity as she's walking. This is stalking, and this is Securitas. That's a company that's stalking as well, and they're all engaged in federal stalking together. The audible noise is relevant to monitoring by McCarthy. They've been engaged in years of surveillance with the city of Ontario. I documented that. This is the fake sun, and that's giving you context about the targeting conduct that you're witnessing in a supernatural environment. The sun is not in the same manner in an entirely different location over what would be the 60 freeway. Okay, and it's creating what is the immediacy of my shadow here. This is identifying stalking, and guess who's stalking? Paul Leon is stalking, like I've been telling you. When you're looking at the Ontario Fire Department gang stalking with impossible light under the fake sun, Paul Leon is gang stalking. When you're looking at the Ontario Police Department gang stalking with helicopters and while using the resources of a police department, Paul Leon is gang stalking. While you're looking at the fake sun, and I am outside of the Ontario City Hall, which I am here as a matter of documentation before 2025, into the afternoon, where under no circumstances the natural environment includes the sun being anywhere in Florida, for you to see the sun in the sky space, and at the same time remaining over the Ontario City Hall, for it to be here even in 2020, 2021 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm at the same address. That's understanding that Paul Leon is gang stalking. No gang stalking mayor is holding their position in office. No gang stalking mayor whose public corruption is illustrated by the corrupt practices of the police department in that city, the fire department in that city, the ambulatory services in that city, the airport in that city. This is his public removal from office, and this is speaking to his knowledge. You're not ignorant while the fake sun is over where you work. This is the crime scene, and it's shared with the Ontario Police Department, who are stalking me and monitoring my vagina, just like the sex offender Paul Leon is. So is Alan D. WAPNER, not ignorant about the stalking conduct of commercial planes while they're acting with the people of the state engaging in surveillance in plain sight. This public corruption is also why Paul Leon is being removed from office. This is why the Ontario Police Department is being disbanded. The ease with which the public corruption is underway while they're engaged in federal stalking in violation of Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. And this is impunity that you're witnessing. And those that are gang stalking with the police in this manner, they're going to prison, okay? This is what was filling Starbucks, gang stalking, not addressing you, nor do they have to, while the fake sun, by the way, is not over 507 North Euclid Avenue. It's over this demon that's gang stalking in relevant position, tracking my steps with the state, engaged in criminal conduct with the government in plain sight over the City Hall, which is not over 2500 South Archibald Avenue, the Ontario Police Department that had engineer light inside of that police department as well. The evidence of surveillance where demons are monitoring, not merely corrupt, but demons as well. That's what you also need to know. It is currently 9:35 a.m. and the Ontario Police Department is being disbanded and Paul Leon is being removed from office and every other demon associated with his corrupt office. He's been in opposition for far too long, 20 years of corruption, and I'm exposing it. And I'm also going to, let me be clear, Paul Leon is engaged in monitoring right now. He knows exactly who I am. He knows exactly what I'm stating. He is monitoring with the people of the state. He's going to be removed for this corruption that is underway on his watch, as any gang stalking mayor shall be. Karen Bass has the same fate. The LAPD under a fake sun. This is not over Alvarado Gardens at the same time. This is showing how the entity has been targeting, and the specific environment is the direct evidence of it. It will be the prosecution of the state and the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department. Michael GERKEN, Alan D. WAPNER, Paul Leon, and Mike LORENZ, they're going to be removed from positions. And every kidnapping, gang stalker of the Ontario Police, they're going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. It's currently 9:36 a.m. where the entity has the fake sun over this OVITT Family Community Library, which is steps away, and it's still here after 6 p.m. And that's how you know that Paul Leon is a gang stalking mayor. That's an oxymoron, which is intolerable in the United States, in this country. He's being removed. This is P.O.C. All right, this is P.O.C. You listened to me capture that video. Securitas is in relevant position. This is an African-American female. She's operating the Securitas golf cart vehicle. She's stalking in the path. Stalking is recognized through that environment that defies nature. You are not in operation of any or in exercise of any constitutional rights when you're engaged in surveillance with the government that does not have any warrant or probable cause. The substance of the pattern of conduct is shown through that environment, and the behavioral pattern of those that are engaging in what is demonic activity, by the way, right in front of your face. That demonic activity also becomes legally relevant because the government is stalking you from place to place, proven through that specific environment, because the sun is not sitting over the police department and also over the Ontario City Hall. Clearly, you can see that when you look at those videos side by side, and that's a prosecution, a comprehensive one. The federal RICO case against the people of the state. Every business, Securitas, Starbucks, Aveneth Capital Management, Speaker Companies Incorporated. You can name any third-party company because they're going to be prosecuted. They're engaged in surveillance with the government, and then the government comes in order to obstruct justice while they're aware that you're exposing them to commit kidnapping, which is what L. Edwards and Casada and Alex Escobar engaged in on July 4th, 2025. They're all going to federal prison. Every single last one. You're going to federal prison. And they're doing so pursuant to a pattern of conduct that they know has been exposed. They're doing it under the fake sun. They literally committed kidnapping under the fake sun. You're looking at the direct evidence of it. The entity is already surrounded with that evidence, and that level of impunity and malice that you see in the video, you'll see it, those who are listening on podcasts, you'll see this demon sitting on the bench, gang stalking in plain view. That is exactly what American citizens are never going to do after they witness what's going to happen in California. Because the point of it is you better get out of the line of vision. You better not sit there and enable the government to keep somebody under surveillance. If you dare to, be prepared for the consequences. Be prepared. Terrorism is not tolerated in this country. We wouldn't allow somebody else with knowledge to fly overseas and come bomb any buildings and kill American citizens in the name of whatever regime they want to call it. So why, pray tell, do you believe that being in the United States, you're going to engage in domestic terrorism in the face of somebody else, of another? So we're not going to tolerate domestic terrorism that's homegrown either. It's not going to be tolerated. They're delusional. They're engaging in what is criminal conduct in plain sight, and that is providence on this side of a federal prosecution, because that's exactly what they're never going to do again. It's the most foolish thing they could have ever done, but you need to see it because you need to see how it's executed. And it's right in front of your face because it's public corruption, but it's no longer a secret. And any American citizen openly engaging in domestic terrorism, you're going to be treated like the enemy of the United States that you are. It is currently, by the way, 9. My apologies. 9:39 a.m. 215 EC Street, where the fake sun is, and a bunch of demons going into the library stalking all day long. They beat on the desk, stalking with noise. These are psychopaths exhibiting severe mental illness, okay? Hiding behind, oh, I work here. Hiding behind, oh, I'm checking out a book. That's not hiding. It's not hiding at all. There are a bunch of demons sitting around stalking with noise, very mentally demented. Serious issues. And that's going to be when you're prosecuted as a gang stalker. No one's going to care that you're crying. It's legally irrelevant when you're talking about how long you worked at the library. Nobody cares. It's not legally relevant when you're talking about, well, I was just there because my auntie was there and I have to pick her up and she's there all the time and I don't know anything about license plate 8KVY052, Impossible Light, demon, license plate 8D9564, I believe. Those are demons that are pacing with the impossible light. That's why it's legally irrelevant. They're going to be prosecuted. You already know what impossible light is. They're already surrounded with the evidence. And why are you still stalking? Because they're mentally ill. Because they're mentally ill, and that's exactly how they're going to be treated under the law as their behavior proves it, including stalking under a fake sun. No mentally ill person is set or qualified to be in office. Paul Leon's being removed under all circumstances, including because of his exhibited mental illness. Okay? The level of malice, yeah, mental illness, psychopathic, engaging in something so malicious, so psychopathic that it would be unbelievable but for the evidence of the P.O.C. You're being removed from office. You're being removed from office for federal stalking as well, for criminal surveillance, and for monitoring my vagina. That's why. It is currently 9:41 a.m. And you will see that video published to the Google Drive on the P.O.C. website, which is used to prosecute the U.S. government. The website is thisisthepoc.wordpress.com, and it's also going to be on the YouTube channel where the entity is keeping the evidence against itself under surveillance, and also has engaged in trying to steal my evidence. Everybody that engaged in stealing, they're admittedly a gang stalker, and I'm going to prosecute you for that. The entity is doing so also because the entity thought that they were going to defame my character and steal my money and my property. You're going to federal prison. License 85285G2, gang stalking, P.O.C. The fake sun moving all across, engineer light all across the library, just like you see inside of Starbucks. That's the federal RICO case against Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. The population engaging in the identical P.O.C., and they incriminate and prosecute each other, while these demons are already surrounded with the facts, surrounded with the law, okay? You can't make that up. Can't make that up. I couldn't manufacture that if I want to. The fake sun that's over this library right now, it's still over this same entrance at 4 o'clock, where the Ontario police are flying in circles over my head, where demons are sounding fire trucks, exhibiting mental illness, because they're engaged in these demons are manifesting. That's audible activity. Those are demons that are manifesting, and that's why Michael GERKEN is done, and every other demon that's affiliated with the Ontario Fire Department, they're done. They've been engaged in surveillance and sexual violence, as opposed to what their job should be, putting out fires. But they're not able to put out this fire. They make it worse, and the flames get hotter and hotter the more that they keep gang stalking with the people of the state. Because that federal RICO case isn't going to stop either. That federal RICO case is going to continue. Those demons were inside of Starbucks under the fake sun. All right, gang stalking me. This is the entity that's engaging in what is providing evidence against itself, and this is the removal of Paul Leon. That's why the fake sun is over that Ontario City Hall. License plate 9DJR110, stalking with the Ontario Fire Department. That's criminal summoning. That's again 9DJR101. That's P.O.C. Let me show you images of the fake sun. This will be uploaded to the Google Drive. This is the prosecution of the state of California. There's no sun at the Ontario Police Department. Okay, that demon-infected agency, they likes to use helicopters to monitor my vagina, to stalk all around the city, and then have it on the internet because I document it every single time. That's the one that's being disbanded. While the entity has a fake sun nowhere near 2500 South Archibald Avenue, which, by the way, is the exact same criminal system that Starbucks, the corporation, is engaged in. This is P.O.C. It's 9:43 a.m. All right, you will see the images of AMR, gang stalking. Pay attention. I zoom in so you can pay attention to the details. You'll see the fake sun reflecting off of the rear windshield of the gang stalker at the traffic light at C Street in Euclid. You'll see AMR, American Medical Response, gang stalking on the same block in the middle of the day, 12 p.m. Remember when they're gang stalking me at Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue, and impossible light activities all over the bathroom door while they're stalking inside of a cafe. That mental illness has no business driving ambulances, having anything to do with EMT. That acronym is far from mentally ill psychopaths who are stalkers, and doing so while the evidence about their criminal conduct is in real time that's a delusional psychopath. They're being removed from the medical profession. They're gang stalking while I'm uploading the evidence onto the internet. And so that's the specific environment, which is, again, no sun that's over 2500 South Archibald Avenue at the Ontario Police Department is reflecting off of the rear windshield of the vehicle parked at C Street, stalking in the path at C Street in Euclid with American Medical Response, who's engaged in what is criminal monitoring. That's criminal summoning that they were engaged in, sounding sirens and lights under the fake sun, monitoring me in particular as I am uploading evidence onto the internet. That's Title 18 federal stalking that the ambulance is engaged in, the City of Ontario is engaged in, while demons like AMR stalk and touch my person with light. 5VCJ976, parking under the fake sun. That is nowhere near Archibald Avenue and Archibald Avenue and Riverside and Walnut, where I'm at this time, documenting one vehicle after another who are stalking under the fake sun. And this is how you get that consistent inconsistency, because the natural environment doesn't exist where you're looking at the crime scene where a bunch of demons are stalking. 8WUC 054, 9JUP 390. Gang stalking mother, okay? Tracy Banks. It's not unfamiliar. That's Tracy Banks in an Asian woman's meat suit. That's a demon. License plate 9TOE019. License plate 68982N2. P.O.C. The entity has the fake sun over the Ontario Open Family Community Library up until and after sunset. And these demons had it over the Ontario Police Department. But you already know that they're demons. I've already shown you that. They have shown you that. So let me remind you about the entity that's keeping a fake sun where a whole bunch of demon-possessed people, that's not a secret anymore, they're all stalking as a population. They're the living dead. They're walking around pacing, stalking all day long, stalking inside a building. They don't have anything else to do. Okay? This is the reality of what Satan is doing, and it's surveillance because it's government action. All right? It's currently, again, while the entity's monitoring evidence that's going on the internet anyway, this is, again, the entity that doesn't use any reasoning. They don't exercise logic. They're literally the living dead, and they're going to be treated as the national security threat that they are. Okay, they just engage in what is monitoring, period. They're just stalking, period. No matter how direct the evidence is, Satan gives the orders, you fly that plane into that mountain at 3,600 hours or whatever, just giving you an example. That's what they do. These are demons. These are the living dead, and they're gang stalking. You're not just deterred by the race of that demon. Demons don't have races, okay? You're looking at white people, black people, Asian people, Latino people, mulatto people. It does not matter. They're engaged in the pattern of conduct. That's how you recognize them. And Powerful Light, 9JQV194. That's the demon you'll see in images crossing paths with the white van as well. License 6HZH815. They're monitoring while the Wi-Fi is speeding back up because I'm walking closer to the Ontario Town Square. License plate 6HZH815. He's very heavily documented inside of the parking garage. He's probably living in his car, but he's gang stalking, and this is how the lack of priorities that the demon-possessed have while they're monitoring, and you don't even have anywhere to live, okay? The government is engaging in this P.O.C, and the sounding of the car alarm is relevant to audible activity. They're monitoring the video. Let me be clear. It's going on the internet. I have thousands of videos that are already on the internet. This is the entity that's, again, they will risk going to federal prison, crossing paths in a police vehicle. They will risk engaging in what is catching a federal case, and it's going on the internet regardless. License 8VPK195. Remember, I'm moving, so I'm documenting. So they're monitoring in real time. The obsession doesn't stop because I'm exposing it. I'm exposing it because you need to know about the obsession. This is a demonic machine, and it's not intelligent either. And that lack of intelligence is also a threat, by the way. It's also a threat. There's no brain power here. There's no power in numerate, no. It's just a lot of stalkers, a lot of mentally dead people, a lot of unintelligent, obsessed criminals who go to desperate acts and go and engage in demented behaviors in order to stalk another person, all right, for whatever reason. Relevant context, relevant motive is that the entity, through the corrupt courts, tried to steal my property, my money. And through these psychopaths, we're going to try to falsely depict my character. That's what's so laughable about it. That's what's so laughable about it. It is currently, by the way, while the video is published on the internet, It's 9:57 a.m. It's going on the internet, and I just documented a whole bunch of federal stalking. All of these City of Ontario gang stalking, the population of demons, they're all going into the library to engage in surveillance. All of them focused on my vagina, monitoring in bathrooms, stalking in bathrooms, just like they were at Starbucks. And where the fake sun goes, the gang stalkers engaged in traditional stalking. You'll pay attention to them gang stalking me at Starbucks under the fake sun, and they're gang stalking me at the library under the fake sun. Engaging in kidnapping with the Ontario police at the library, they're still engaging in gang stalking. They're going to federal prison. It's P.O.C. It's currently 9:58 a.m. 8KVJ162. This is P.O.C. Excuse me, what time is it? It is 9:59 a.m. That's plain activity. While the kidnapper is documented. Remember, you're kidnapping when you're monitoring with the kidnappers. That's what Starbucks is engaged in. And everybody's at under the fake sun on June 16, 2022, pacing it out of this entryway, the same entryway where it's over here at 4 o'clock and at 5 o'clock and at 6 o'clock. I documented it very thoroughly on June 16, 2022. And while they're engaged in what is gang stalking, you're engaged in kidnapping during the course of you're engaged in, monitoring during the course of a kidnapping. You're going to prison for that, all right? And all of them, they're documented, and they're still engaged in the P.O.C. So that's what's relevant to right now. I document everything for a reason. Those kidnappers are identified. Excuse me, thank you. This is P.O.C. It's 10 a.m. It's 3:40 p.m. The demons that are sitting around stalking in a library all day long, like the mentally ill population that stalks with light, are getting help from the City of Ontario. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. I actually had a question. Do you know if there's or what's above the seating area over here, like upstairs? Do you know what area that is? That might be too much of a techie question, but.
Well, I think.
So, did you hear that?
I didn't. What did
It's
you
like
hear?
a loud boom right now, like a thump, which is weird because these ceilings are high. And anyway, my point was asking is because over there, it's really disruptive. It sounds like somebody is literally stomping, which is uncharacteristic of what you would hear. Yeah.
Right above it, I think, is Lightspeed, but it's also
is
the
Lightspeed?
children's area. It's the makerspace.
Oh, where the kids are?
Yeah, and I know above the literacy classroom is the story time room. So it's that area of the library. There may be children over there. Furniture may have fallen over. That could be it.
You think those kids are strong enough and heavy enough to be heard through the...
Anything.
That's interesting. Well, I was just asking because it is kind of, well, not kind of, it's commonly an area over there that I'm hearing something like stomping, something like reminiscent of stomping, yeah. And it's weird because that's supposed to be the quiet area, especially, Miss Julie. She always likes to remind me of that. And I was like, it was just because I was shuffling my cards, which I guess was disruptive or whatever, which is fine because I like quiet, peace and quiet too. But when I was sitting over there and just like right now, that's why I wanted to come ask you because it sounds like something is stomping above. And I hear what you're saying, that it would be kids and stuff, but it just, the acoustics of that and looking at the little kids to hear it through the ceiling sounds weird.
In the literacy classroom when they had story time where they had sticks and were actually doing stomping songs.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm not sure what it could be. It could be the kids, but I don't know.
I don't know. Well, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. It is kind of, because we do go over there, well, I don't know about them, but I go over there to focus, to get some peace and quiet over there. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And then the week before that, it was like the sound, it smelled like burnt rubber. Have you ever heard of, well, I like vacuuming and cleaning a lot. And so it smelled like when you use a vacuum and the rubber belt burns, like when a vacuum, it smelled like that for a few days. It stopped though, but just weird stuff over there. Don't know. I haven't smelled it since.
It's like the mystery corner.
It is. I brought it up to another employee, and ever since I brought it up, didn't happen anymore. So I was like, maybe if I bring this up, that'll stop too. I don't know, but
I'm taking a little break right now, but I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention. Because it's not them. I looked around. It's nobody sitting around me.
I'm gonna talk to children to see if like everything's okay up there. Like, how long ago did you think it happened? Was it like a one-time or was
Oh, no,
it
no.
consistent?
It's something consistent. It's consistent. I don't, bother you guys about. I put my headphones back on, but if I'm sitting over there with no headphones on, I would still, kind of expect. I guess with the exception of the veterans area right there, he's always speaking with people. But I kind of expect it to be kind of quiet. When I don't have my headphones on, I do hear like boom, boom, boom. Even when I was standing here right now, I guess you didn't hear it, but I heard it right here. So, anyway, yeah, it is very weird.
The road is just
It's
right
just disruptive.
there.
That's all.
No, I understand. It's supposed to be a quiet area.
Mm-hmm.
If it's outside forces, I can't do anything about that. But if it's like children,
What?
constantly
I expect you to
ruckus,
be like a Ghostbuster. Come on now. No, I'm just kidding.
I will go get on with this.
Okay. Well, thank you
I mean,
anyway.
I'll do some research and see, but I don't know. I can't guarantee anything.
No.
I'll try.
I just wanted to bring that to your attention, though. Thank you. Have a good one. All right, it's audible activity in Engineer Light. They're all sitting in Engineer Light. Not only do they beat on the furniture, and these are psychopaths. Again, sitting up is just a army of demons stalking in the library all day long, beating on the furniture like nothing's happening, like they do under the fake sun, like it's not there. With regard to the impossible light activity, like it's not happening while they are stalking. Okay, they are engaging in surveillance in the bathrooms. They're engaging in surveillance throughout the library. All right, and the ongoing amplified volume, the noise in the library, is pursuant to what is the same city of Ontario under the fake sun, and it's documentation for what is terrorism and harassment while a bunch of gang stalkers fill the library. Okay, it's currently 3:45 p.m., and you're witnessing mental illness while she's engaged in gang stalking me as I speak with her. That's mental illness, that's psychopathic behavior. This is P.O.C. All right, the perpetual sex offense, which is where the entity, the public entity that is a sex offender, engaging in surveillance and maintain surveillance in places like bathrooms, which is, again, a sex offense committed by the government that already doesn't have any warrant or probable cause or constitutional basis to engage in ceaseless surveillance at all places and at all times, like the state of California is. At OVITT Family Community Library, this is the surveillance that's underway by both males and females. You have a corporate sex act committed in violation of human rights and constitutional rights. And I want to be clear, Julie and Kaylin, these are employees of the City of Ontario and the OVITT Family Community Library, monitoring my vagina in concert with the rest of the gang stalkers stalking inside of the library, psychopaths sitting around stalking with noise, engaging in Title 18 federal stalking, a method of harassment, interfering with the operation of my devices, doing so while paying very close attention to everything that I'm doing, including online, and they pay that same close attention to my vagina in the bathroom, where Kaylin and Julie, in particular, the two females on the first level, and those are just the two sex offenders that I identify. They work for the OVITT Family Community Library, which is the City of Ontario, engaging in a sex offense with both males and females. These are demons, so I just want you to be clear, in the same way that demons don't have race, and demons also don't have gender. They're engaged in what is what would be referred to as sexually perverted conduct, woman on woman, sexual violence, and men keeping a woman's genitalia under surveillance. This is what the demon possessed are doing. You're going to prosecute them in the physical, but these are demons that are monitoring my vagina together. And the two females are, again, Kaylin and Julie. These two sex offenders are going to be prosecuted for that. It's a criminal act committed by the state, acting via these state actors. They're working at a government building. State OVITT Family Community Library is a function of the City of Ontario. They're going to be prosecuted as state actors. All right, monitoring my vagina, the main entity maintaining specifically, doing it. So remember, I'm documenting. So the entity engages in the sex offense with knowledge of that and in pursuit of seeking to harass and terrorize and sexually traumatize while engaging in that with knowledge that I'm documenting it. And this is why Mike Lorenz's obsession with my vagina is at the forefront of why that police department, the Ontario Police, is being disbanded. Okay? The entity is engaging in the perpetual sex offense 7:17 p.m. at 215 E.C. Street, where the entity kept the fake sun all day long, pursuant to obvious surveillance underway by a population, surrounded by a bunch of psychopaths stalking in a library,
feigning to be focused on something else. This is the behavioral pattern of the mentally ill who engage in the system of gang stalking. They arrived entering the venue under the fake sun at 10 in the morning, and it remained all day long. This is surveillance underway all day long, and it includes surveillance of my vagina. And this is what the people of the state of California practice. It is currently, again, 7:18 p.m. This is P.O.C. 65716A1 and third-party facilitating venue, Laurelwood Apartments. It's 8:21 p.m. Stewie, stop. All right, molesting with light, license 5VSS464, and this is at 403 West G Street in Ontario, California. License, and that's zip code 91762 at 8:26 p.m. 8SPL 710 80616G2 6JRN 991 5EAV 499, and also 7-Eleven located at 636 North Vine Avenue. Gang stalking, sharing in that sex offense monitoring as an entity, and also profiting. The people of the state are gang stalking by purchasing at that venue. That's relevant to the federal RICO case against the corporation itself. 7TKU350. It's currently 8:26 p.m. It's 8:56 p.m. That's the City of Ontario gang stalking. The method includes amplified train. That will be attributed to the gang stalker Union Pacific, which you cannot hear. I'm at the TABOR Professional Building, standing in front of 325 West G Street. They are inside of their facilitating venue, monitoring me, where they live, in concert with the people of the state that are pacing around outside of their home, a facilitating venue, gang stalking together as one with the entity that has planes flying much more northwest than they were over the Ontario Town Square, where the fake sun remained all day long, flying even farther as though they are again hovering over this low in the sky space to take off over 325 West G Street. That's the entity that's stalking and monitoring with the people of the state, including where they live, including this third party, 325 West G Street. It is currently 8:56 p.m. at the TABOR Professional Building, which is at 320 West G Street, and the entity is engaging in what is monitoring, again, in this specific environment. So that's audible activity and light activity. You already know the impossible light that they aim on me and my person. They're sex offenders sitting around in a library all day long, stalking with audible activity, monitoring with multiple shadows, a psychopathic behavioral pattern in a demented environment. These are the demons that are gang stalking me at the TABOR Professional Building, doing so with the government that is sounding train activity and sounding and flying planes over the venue in order to engage in surveillance together as an entity. It's 8:57 p.m. Capturing the specific environment where the demons are engaged in surveillance. My multiple shadows that are on the ground. These are psychopaths that are stalking with light. And they're doing so while they are stalking me as a population. And that includes the corrupt businesses engaging in that. That's more than 7-Eleven. El Pescador, Crab and Fish. These businesses, I'm prosecuting the state of California. The city of Ontario is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. It's more than just 7-Eleven at 636 North Vine Avenue, while the government is engaging in criminal conduct that the people of the state are going to be prosecuted for. It's currently 8:58 p.m. This is P.O.C. This is a documentation of the government stalking, engaging in what is stalking me, following me as I go from place to place to place on yet another day. This is P.O.C. All right, this is documentation of the same federal stalking that the City of Ontario at OVITT Family Community Library is engaging in. This is occurring at 325 West G Street, 630 North Fern Avenue, 323 West G Street, Woodside Senior Apartments, the entire complex at 408, and I believe it's 302 West G Street in Ontario, California.
91762. The 7-Eleven at 636 North Vine Avenue. The people of the state, for example, at 403 North Vine Avenue, 403 West G Street in Ontario, California, 91762, etc. Just to give an idea of where I'm at, I am at the TABOR Professional Building, and the entire state, but documenting the facilitating venues, the environment where I'm at, where the entities documented for a prolonged period: stalking by the Ontario Police, the Ontario Fire Department, American Medical Response, the Ontario International Airport. This is where the entity is engaging in the same thing that I documented earlier, and it's relevant to what it is that I'm doing on my device. So this is why the entity now finds it, they find it beneficial to engage in what is interfering with the operation of my device. So I'm listening to content and falling asleep listening to that content, the entity interfering with the operation of my phone. This is the very conduct that the entire state's being prosecuted for pursuant to surveillance and its federal stalking. Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. The entity doing so with, again, these are psychopaths. This is the mental illness. And the entity is at this location where the people of the state, specifically documented by address, by license plate, and doing so pursuant to the documented the specific crime of federal stalking. The demon possessed engaged in what is, again, as I fall asleep, turning down the content. That's controlling your device. So I'm listening to content. The content is turned down low, so I can't hear it anymore. My headphones are still plugged into my phone. I didn't change anything about it. I did not stop playing the content. I look at my phone, it's still playing. It's just not playing through the headphones. This is relevant to federal stalking, monitoring on devices. There are many things that I have documented where the entity engages in the P.O.C. Oh, and by the way, the stalker is still stalking in real time. This is all relevant to how the entity is going to be prosecuted. So nonetheless, the entity is engaging in monitoring on devices, and there are many times where I've documented, and it's a matter of maneuvering while the entity is seeking the stalker that is stalking you, that is trying to stop you from publishing evidence about them stalking you. That stalker, which is the state, and again, which is the people of the state, and every single resident, every single household, that population that is being prosecuted as one. So the entity is engaging in monitoring in this form, and this is exactly what the City of Ontario at the OVITT Family Community Library are engaging in. And these are the tactics of the entity that resorts to nothing other than harassment, no matter how petty. And that's because you're going to federal prison. So the entity resorts to harassment, engages in the very allegations that it's accused of. You're engaged in surveillance. You're engaged in monitoring me on my devices. You're engaged in stalking me. And you're engaged in what is unlawful surveillance on the venue of the internet as well. And this is exactly what the entity engages in for purposes of merely harassment while they're accomplishing nothing with regard to avoiding federal prison, for example, with regard to avoiding being disbanded, with regard to avoiding a sex offense being placed on their criminal record as terrorists, being prosecuted, and the Department of Justice dealing with the terrorists who are gang stalking in California, and specifically at this intersection, G Street and Ferd, where I'm located, where the entity is engaging in this. So the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct, and this is relevant to the mental illness. These are psychopaths that not only engage in the criminal act of federal stalking, as is the allegations of surveillance against the state of California. The demon-possessed exhibit mental illness in the way in which they engage in their criminal conduct as well. So the entity turns down the content on my phone, and then you have a psychopath, sounds like a male, who begins screaming at the top of their lungs, something... it's not inaudible, but it's something that you can't really understand. The gibberish that they're screaming, they scream it twice. The entity is doing so while, again, interfering with sleep. And the demon-possessed that are stalking you, that are obsessed with you, are doing so with knowledge that they are interfering with sleep. So the demon screams it once, doesn't quite wake me up, screams it twice in order to accomplish waking me up. This is all evidence against the defendant that's going to be prosecuted by it. But this is, again, the demon-possessed that, like I said, you're dealing with mentally ill psychopaths. You're not dealing with wise or prudent or strategic people who have anything planned or any sort of maneuvering tactic. They're literally choosing to go down and they're just going down. That when I have 100 videos of the Ontario Police Department stalking, that's an entity that has chosen to go down, and they just choose to go down, and going down. They've already gone down. They've already lost the case. It was prosecuted on the internet, and it's going to be prosecuted in federal court, and there's no controversy either. So the demon possessed engaging in what is mentally ill behavior, screaming, a demon that's screaming at the top of her lungs, sounds like a male, sharing in what is pacing, just like they are stalking on G Street in real time, stalking still, doing so in the engineered light, engaging what is interference with the operation of my device. It's federal stalking conduct pursuant to surveillance on my devices, while they're engaged in gang stalking relevant position, surveillance in relevant position, doing so with the intent to harass and terrorize, interfering with my sleep in order to have a demon that sounds like a raging psychopath scream at the top of their lungs twice when the entity is convinced that I'm awoken, and then you have the demons that engage in what is crossing path. A demon is crossing path, walking on the sidewalk at the same time, where you're discovering I'm waking up and I'm figuring out, okay, well, why isn't my content playing anymore? And who is screaming at the top of their lungs? And then you're in the specific environment where the demons are stalking with the possible light, pacing in traffic, stalking all night long, leaving their households. Where they don't mind, by the way, in doing that, they don't mind going to federal prison, where they leave their homes to engage in stalking me while I'm sleeping outside. They don't mind sleeping in a federal prison and living there. They don't mind the criminal record of being a stalker, of being one that's engaging in what is criminal monitoring and stalking as a government. They don't mind these things while they're engaging in the pattern of conduct. They are always exhibiting what is the needfulness of the very crime, of the very punishment that the crime calls for, okay, while the entity is gang stalking. So I want to be clear, this is exactly what Kaylin and Julie, who were monitoring my vagina inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, in concert with the demon possessed that filled the venue of the OVITT Family Community Library, where they're stalking in the bathroom through amplified audible activity. And while I'm sitting in the library and a bunch of demons are stalking, and the entity resorts to, again, because they've already lost, because they've already been prosecuted, because they've already been embarrassed, because they've already been proven as demons. They've already been proven as demons who are obsessively stalking. They've been proven as demons who are obsessed with my genitalia. Those same demons then engage in what is a concession to gang stalking by engaging in more federal stalking and engaging in criminal conduct that is also documented by interfering with the operation of my device just to satisfy their psychopathic desires and impulses of harassing the person that is prosecuting them, the person that will specifically identify the same entity and put that ongoing criminal pattern of conduct online. That entity, those demons, those psychopaths are the ones that are engaging in that. It's 11:23 p.m. at the TABOR Professional Building, and the entity is gang stalking on behalf of the same corrupt city of Ontario. The mayor that's proven to be gang stalking, the fire department, the American Medical Response, the demons that are contracted with the city of Ontario to provide ambulance services, and instead they're engaged in state surveillance. The demons that are gang stalking at the Ontario International Airport and the Ontario Police Department. That city of Ontario is gang stalking through the demon-possessed civilian population, the people of the state that are also going to be prosecuted for domestic terrorism. All right, the entity is doing so while every household, the people of the state, the civilian population engaged in federal stalking, criminal surveillance, and doing so with knowledge of the interference with the operation of my device. You don't have a coincidental psychopath screaming at the top of their lungs while the content on my phone goes mute, and I am able to hear it in order to interrupt my sleep, while demons are engaging in the petty acts of harassment, which is also at the same time federal offenses such as obstruction of justice and domestic terrorism upon federal group stalking and monitoring. These are the demons that are, again, going to federal prison. They're going to be prosecuted as terrorists in the United States. It's currently 11:24 p.m. This is the criminal act of the entity under the fake moon. I'm at the TABOR Professional Building, and I'm, again, at the nearest intersection between the main street of Euclid Avenue and the what is Vine Avenue, and the entire time, it's been 9 minutes and 54 seconds. The demons stalking the entire time, not only by traffic, because they're stalking by residents. The demons in 325 West G Street in Ontario, California, they are residing at a crime scene, and I'm going to prosecute for that. Gang stalking by residents, that is an intolerable level of facilitation with the government, including while they are gang stalking me with the government by the following, by that which I just documented right now. It is currently, again, 11:25 p.m. This is P.O.C.